Hi, everyone. Hello, hello, and welcome to Thanksgiving Eve. We've made it to Thanksgiving Eve, and thank you so much for joining me. I don't take it lightly because I know a lot of you are probably cooking your Thanksgiving Eve uh, dinner for Thanksgiving. So you decided to stop by, and I thank you so much. And so, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lois Godot, and I am the moderator for this YouTube page. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor, and I've also been in a blended family for 27 years. And so this YouTube page is for everything blended family. And we talk about blended family issues, the challenges. We talk about the wonderful things that happen when you're in a blended family. We talk about relationships. I give advice. So anything that deals with the blended family, it'll be talked about on this channel. And so I want you to do me a favor. I have my little ticker tape here. And I want you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If it's giving you value, subscribe to it. Click like and go ahead and share it so other people can know about the channel. And again, YouTube's algorithm that when it is liked and when it is subscribed to, they push it out to more people so they can see the channel. So go ahead and do that. And secondly, I want you to go ahead and join me in the chat. I have the chat, and even though I can't see you, I want you to go ahead and say hi to me. Let me know where you're at, and so just join me in the chat. If you have anything you want to say, put it in the chat, and that way I can respond to it. So today, I thought since it was thanks, my dog. My dog is just he's just scratching back. I don't know if you can hear him. And so since this is Thanksgiving Eve, I thought I'd talk about something that deals with the holiday because a lot of times when you have issues in the family, it's around the holiday. So let me go ahead and make this disclaimer. So this video is protected by the Fair Use Act of 1976. It's a disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, and it says that this video, there is an allowance is made for what's called the fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. So this video is protected by that because we're going to go ahead and talk about it and we're going to comment on it and kind of analyze it. So let me go ahead and put this one up. So today's session is called Is Son's Future In-Laws Hijacking Thanksgiving? Is Son's Future In-Laws Hijacking Thanksgiving? So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And it says, my son recently became engaged to a girl whose parents are vegans, although she isn't one. They invited my husband and me to dinner and served a vegan meal, which we graciously ate and enjoyed. We always host Thanksgiving dinner at our home, and I invited them to join us. I offered to prepare an all vegan meal for them, alongside our more traditional Thanksgiving feast. Their answer was that they would be unable to eat in a home where there are dead animal products served at the table. In other words, if there is a turkey on the table, they cannot attend. My family enjoys the traditional Thanksgiving meal every year. I don't think it's fair to dictate what we should serve. My son said I should make a vegan meal for everyone to keep the peace. My family will not attend Thanksgiving dinner under those circumstances, and I don't blame them. How should I handle this? So here we have a situation, just to summarize it. The son, he's engaged to his girlfriend, whose parents are vegan, and she's not a vegan. And they've eaten at his girlfriend's parents' home, even though they aren't vegan, but they've eaten at their home. They want to have Thanksgiving dinner, the son's family have it at their home, and she's offered to prepare a vegan meal for the fiance's family because they know that they are vegan. And the future in-laws, they refuse because they said that if it's a dead animal on the table, we can't eat it. Other family members are coming to the meal, and so the mom is saying that it wouldn't be fair to them if we just served a vegan meal. And besides, she want to do a traditional Thanksgiving meal, and the son wants her to keep the peace, and he tells her just prepare the vegan meal for everyone so we can keep the peace. So now on the surface, this looks like it's just people declining an invitation. No big deal. But as we look through it, we'll see that this is so much more. And let's go ahead and unpack this and see what's really going on. So, first, the future in laws are vegan. And for those who don't know what vegans are, they're people who don't eat any animal or any animal byproducts. Byproducts are what comes out of the animal. So we're talking about the milk and the egg and the cheese and the honey. So they don't eat any of that. So the mother offered, because she know that her son's future in-laws are vegan, she offered to cook the meal. Now for those of us that cook Thanksgiving meal, you know that it takes a lot of preparation time and cooking in the kitchen. We're talking about 4 to 5 hours to cook a Thanksgiving meal. That's just the traditional one. But she offered to cook a vegan one, which she probably doesn't even know how to cook it. So she probably got to go find recipes and figure out how to do it. But they don't eat byproducts. And anyone that cooks dressing knows that you have to have your milk and your eggs in there. And so she can't cook anything with milk, eggs, or cheese. And for a lot of the Thanksgiving preparation, those ingredients are in the meal. So now she can't even use that. So she really is going to have to try to figure out what kind of meal to cook. And that seems very gracious of her because she wants to include them. She's trying to compromise and include them. And so, like I said, it's going to take her a while to figure that out. So already I'm looking at, wow, she's going to be in that kitchen a long time. The second thing that stood out is that they declined. And they said that they were unable to eat in a home that had dead animals, that had any dead animal on the table. So they won't even come to the home now because they know they're going to have turkey on the table. So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking that a lot of times when people go to someone's house and they don't like what's being prepared, they just don't put it on their plate. They don't say, I can't come to your home because you're cooking broccoli and I don't like broccoli. So instead of them just going and just not putting it on their plate, they said they can't go there because there's going to be a dead animal on the table. And that starts to sound a little bit like control because the mom said that she doesn't feel like they should tell her what that she should cook. So it looks like they're trying to control. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb with this and say because this mother was gracious enough to say, I'm going to cook you a vegan meal, and she don't even know how to cook it, but she's going to learn. She probably wouldn't have put the turkey in the middle of the table. I'm just going to say that because that's what I believe, because she wanted them to feel comfortable in her home, didn't want them to feel uncomfortable. So she probably would have put it on the stove, maybe in the kitchen, maybe in the dining room, away from them so they wouldn't be offended. So I'm just going to say that I think that she would have accommodated them. The parents look like they're really trying to compromise on this situation. And the last thing that stood out to me was when the son said to his mom, just make a vegan meal for everybody so we can keep the peace. Now, they're not concerned with what anybody else is thinking, what anybody else wants. It's all about making that family feel comfortable. And so someone said, I think it is unreasonable to have such expectations of his family after his mother was willing to prepare a vegan meal for them. There's something else going on. Right. There's something else going on because, like I said, I think it sounds like a little bit of control because they're compromising. They're saying, hey, we're willing to do this, but they're like, nope, if it's not how we want it, we're not coming. And now the son has even stepped in and says to keep the peace. Now, when he said that, it sounds like now there's arguments with him and his fiance. Now, I could be wrong, but in my experience as a therapist, when someone says keep the peace, it's because there's conversations that's stirring up arguments. And I would think that it would probably be between him and his fiance, because remember, she's not vegan, but again, she's not stepping out and saying anything. She's not telling her, he's not saying that, well, she's telling her parents not to do it and they still want to do it. Sounds like she's not saying anything. So many times when people are engaged, they want to keep the peace and they want to have a good showing. And it looks like that he's trying to be in good relation with his in-laws, which is not a bad thing to be in good relation, but it's at the cost of everyone else. And I know that sometimes when people get engaged, what they do is they'll see things that make them uncomfortable and they'll push them to the side and say, you know what, we'll deal with it later. And we call those things that when it makes you feel uncomfortable, we call those red flags. And in this situation, there's several red flags. And I'll tell you why they're red flags and tell you what needs to happen. So the first red flags is like someone said, is that they're not willing to compromise. That's the first red flag. They're refusing to compromise, even when mom said that she's going to make this vegan meal, even when she's going to figure out, how to make it and cook a whole different meal for them. They still say no. They still say no, and they won't come. A question and a thought I had was, I wonder if they ever go to restaurants, because at restaurants, even if you order a vegan meal, they have other meals on they have other meals on the menu that aren't vegan. And so you may pass somebody that has a lobster on their table, chicken on their table, steak on their table. Do you not go to restaurants? And I'm going somewhere with this. It sounds a little facetious, but I'm going somewhere because this is what I'm trying to show you, that they aren't compromising. Then do they go to the mall? Because in the mall, they have leather coats, they have leather shoes, and other things that are made from animals. Again, do they not go to the mall because they don't want to be anywhere where there are dead animals that have been used? And so I'm looking at this saying they just don't want to compromise. And that's why I said it looks like it's a little controlling. The second thing, red flag, was the son has an unrealistic expectation that if mom cooks this vegan meal, everything's going to be okay. And it's not, because they have clearly said they won't eat where there are dead products served. Now, just follow me and go with me for a minute. He's engaged to be married. And at most weddings, they have food. So, are all the food that's going to be prepared, are they going to be vegan dishes? And I probably would say, probably not. Probably not going to be vegan dishes. And so, if they're not vegan dishes, because they're inviting family and friends and everybody, that's not their appetite. They don't have just a vegan lifestyle. So, you have these guests that are coming in, and now you have to have food prepared that have animals, made from animals, because chicken and all kind of food. Are the parents going to say, we're not coming unless you have a vegan meal? So you see now how this is starting to expand beyond just this little Thanksgiving meal, because now it's looking like, okay, if this is how they are and they're not going to move and they're controlling, how is this going to affect the rest of our engagement or even our wedding? We didn't even get to the rest of our life yet, but we're just right there. And you can see how this is more of a bigger issue than just go ahead, mom, and just make the vegan meal so we can keep the peace. My father used to always say this. I think it might have been my mother. If you give a person an inch, they'll take a mile. So if you start telling them, okay, you can start running how we prepare food, how we prepare our dinners, what else will they tell you to do? Will they start telling you what to wear? Because remember, animal products, we have the leathers, we have the coats, we even have fur jacket. Will they tell you you can't wear that? So where does this end? So at some point you have to stop and say, well, no, we have to talk about this. And then the last point is the red flag that I saw is that when someone disrespects your religion or your tradition, it needs to be a serious conversation. Now, even though the his future in-laws are not respecting their tradition of having a traditional Thanksgiving meal, even though the mom wants to do it, she said she should prepare it vegan. They're not respecting their tradition of having a Thanksgiving meal. And because the fiance hasn't said anything, and because the son says he wants to keep peace, it it stands to reason that she's probably having something to say, that the fiance, she's probably not in agreement with them not cooking, because she probably wants her family all together for Thanksgiving, like most people want their family together. And so when something starts encroaching on your relationship, starting to become a problem in your relationship, it's time to have a conversation. So I think that even though it looks like it's just them declining the invitation, sometimes people ignore those little red flags that could cause problems later. I can see this being an issue if it's not addressed. If it's not addressed right now, I can see it become an issue. It's okay for them to have their own lifestyle. No one even said come to the Thanksgiving dinner and you have to eat turkey. No one said that. Someone said this should be a deal breaker because this is a symptom of a behavior pattern. You're right, Russ. It's starting to look like it's going to be a problem because they're not willing to compromise. They're not willing to do anything that's going to help the situation. It's either my way or the highway. They know what's causing problems. Now the children have gotten involved and they're still sticking to their guns. They don't want to move. And so, as far as the son and the fiance, they need to have a conversation. Is the parent's wishes going to impede in their life? And again, sometimes things look like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but as you think it through and as you process, you'll see it could become a problem, especially with the wedding. The wedding's coming up because they just got engaged, and who's going to tell who what to have at their wedding? Will he have a voice? Is he still going to be trying to please them? Because if you continue to try to please them as you get along in your marriage, and you decide, I think I don't want to please them anymore, now it's going to be a problem because you've been going one way and now it's hard to change direction in midstream, sort of like trying to come back up when the current is going against you. So that's what I had today. And I just wanted to just share that in the eve of Thanksgiving, because a lot of times the problems that families have, sometimes it's the extended families having the issues, but you got to make sure you two are on the same page. And that way you can diffuse any issues that will come. So go ahead and write in the chat. If you're seeing this as a replay, write hashtag replay. Let me know what you think about this. Give me a comment. So I also do coaching. Also, I'm a transformation coach. So if there's anything that you want to talk about, just send me an email. It's right here in the under this live. Send me an email and I can help you through whatever that situation is that you're having, the challenge or the issue. And I also do individual coaching. So if that's something that you're desiring, just go ahead and let me know. So he said, what is the remedy? What I said the remedy is that him and his fiance, they need to get on the same page. They need to look at this not just as her parents are declining, but look at how it's really affecting. That's why I tried to let's look at it and uncover what it's really saying. By you not being compromising, by you saying, I'm not coming to your house because you have a dead animal. So when the fiance and the daughter gets married, is she not going to come to their house? Because if he's a meat eater, he's probably want to have meat at his house. Are they going to say, we can't come to your house unless you change? So this could really become like that snowball that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You have to talk about the issue. And the issue here is it looks like it's not compromise. Looks like they may be controlling. And the expectation of him is that just go ahead and do it. But they're like, no, this is a conversation we need to have now, because this could potentially affect our relationship. And really to see where the fiance is with that. If she's not saying anything, if she's in agreement with her parents that your parents should go ahead and change, maybe she's allowing them to control her. So really need to look at this and maybe get into some couples counseling and look at the issue, and a good therapist will help you in that process. Okay, so again, Thanksgiving Eve, thank you for joining me, and go ahead and finish cooking your Thanksgiving meal, and I'll see you on our next broadcast. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.